This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family.
Princess Kate Middleton has officially exposed the reason behind her resolute refusal to step into the meeting room at Clarence House last month, laying bare a rift that can no longer be hidden. No longer just a rumor, a fiery confrontation erupted right in the corridor when the Princess of Wales unmasked a plot to destroy her honor, orchestrated by none other than her husband's stepmother. This devastating conflict stemmed from a pearl brooch at Windsor Castle concrete evidence containing a distorted audio recording aimed at breaking Kate's mental well-being while she was gravely ill. Queen Camilla used her own private funds to bribe aides to spread this psychological poison throughout the palace, hoping to drive Kate into a corner. But Prince William launched a spectacular counterattack, trapping the traitor red-handed and forcing Camilla to endure public humiliation in front of King Charles III. The trap lunch at Windsor personally wore the wiretapping brooch and ordered him to use her private funds to bribe staff to spread the psychological poison and isolate the Princess of Wales. This entire confession was recorded word for word by the security team devices to ensure he could absolutely not tip off Camilla. The night hunt had ended in a resounding victory. The righteous side held the winning hand, and tomorrow's dawn at Clarence House would witness the Queen's theatrical web of lies torn to shreds in the light. Silence enveloped Clarence House ahead of the major gathering. Queen Camilla's loyal factions had completed preparations inside the stateroom. Crimson velvet chairs were perfectly arranged around holding the pearl brooch, the bribery ledger, and the recorded confession of the aide. William knew he possessed all the weapons needed to execute the most devastating punishment. He ordered the operatives to escort the aide to a secret isolation area within the palace, confiscating all communication to a long, polished oak table. Camilla sat at the center, gently swirling her porcelain cup, her eyes full of complacency. She was waiting for the arrival of the Waleses to begin her charade of fake unity, a performance designed to force Kate to bow and accept her arrangements before it's daily. He quietly accumulated evidence, logging every timestamp and the individuals involved. The hunt grew breathtakingly tense when the operative reported that Camilla was preparing to execute her final move, leaking the distorted recording to a major media outlet in the United States to trigger an international media explosion, forcing Kate to withdraw entirely from public life. Time was measured in days. William did not flinch. He ordered the Kate's office while silently tracking the movements and associations of Camilla's closest aide. Through strict professional surveillance, William's security team quickly discovered an abnormal flow of leaked information. Every threat of defamation and every rumor regarding Kate's mental state originated from the personal encrypted phone of the Queen's close aide. This individual regularly held clandestine meetings with financial management staff and tabloid editors in secluded pubs behind the palace after hours. William received detailed reports from the security team to keep tailing Camilla's aide, waiting for the moment the man made his biggest mistake while attempting to finalize the physical erasure of the crime. He wanted to catch both the culprit and the evidence red-handed. For 3 grueling weeks, William had to suppress his immense fury, maintaining a calm There was no loud noise, no chaos or struggle. An operative stepped forward, with lightning speed decisively snatching the leather briefcase and the pearl brooch from the aide's hands, before he could make any attempt to destroy them. He placed the leather briefcase on the table and pulled out the pearl brooch to throw it into the fireplace. The ceiling lights suddenly flashed on, blindingly bright. The aide jumped in shock, spinning around his face, instantly draining of all color, as he saw Prince William alongside 2 trusted security operatives blocking the exit. Their archive room, slipping inside surreptitiously, without turning on the lights, using only the faint glow of his phone screen to navigate. He advanced toward the corner of the room, where a heavy-duty paper shredder and a glowing small fireplace sat. right at the moment, in the dimly lit stone corridor leading to the internal archives room. He tightly clutched a small leather briefcase against his chest, which contained the Pearl Brooch, the concrete evidence carrying the original audio file from Windsor, alongside a notebook detailing the cash bribes Camilla had distributed across palace departments. Camilla had ordered him to destroy this brooch that very night, to wipe away all physical traces now that the distorted audio file had been safely transferred to a private storage system. The aide used a master key to unlock the archive. One of Kate's moments of intense vulnerability was captured without missing a beat by the Pearl Brooch. Kate pressed her lips tightly together, her thin hands clasping under the table to stop her body from trembling with resentment. She realized the ultimate cruelty of the woman opposite her, who would not be placed in the hands of a woman with such vulnerable mental and physical stamina. She wanted to provoke Kate to make the young princess lose her composure, to hear trembling, desperate words or unconstrained outbursts. Every single way for her network of henchmen to isolate the Waleses and secure her absolute dominance within the palace. Every malicious word from Camilla felt like a knife driven straight into Kate's honor. But the princess used what was exploiting her weakest moment after a severe illness to crush her self-esteem. Camilla did not just want to demean Kate in this room. She was seeking to pave the way. Into Kate's eyes, she took a sip of tea and delivered her cold-cutting words publicly, questioning Kate's capacity to shoulder future responsibilities alongside Prince William. Camilla argued that the future of the monarchy could not. At his daughter-in-law, who was exhausted from illness, the king was utterly disgusted. He realized that Camilla's greed and schemes directly threatened the very survival of the family. King Charles III made a devastating decision. He officially turned his back, abandoning Camilla's defense to stand with his children, protecting the direct line of succession to the throne. The appearance of the king's trusted guards was proof that Camilla had been stripped of all supporting power. William, if you ever dare use those forged files to blackmail my wife or touch my children, this original recording, along with the bribery statements, will be broadcast live on all the largest media channels in the world. Do not test the limits of a husband and a father. Camilla looked around, trying to find assistance from the aides who had long bowed to her commands. Along with the original audio file and the confession of the captured aide to King Charles III late the previous night. Upon hearing his wife's malicious words, stared straight at the woman who had once destroyed his mother's happiness years ago, his voice ringing out as cold as ice. You have exactly 5 minutes to pack your personal belongings and get out of Clarence house. Carvings of the brooch lay a high-tech micro-recording device activated the moment Kate stepped through the door. Camilla had not invited her daughter-in-law to check on her. His voice was low, slow, and calculated, continuously probing into Kate's grueling treatment. She repeatedly brought up how skeptical the public was, and how worried the palace departments were, due to the Princess of Wales's prolonged absence. By an exquisite antique pearl brooch. On the surface, it appeared to be just a precious piece of jewelry pulled from the royal archives to show formality. But the truth was far more ruthless. Deep within the intricate solid gold, Camilla deliberately created a suffocating atmosphere, forcing Kate into a state of mental insecurity and compelling her to face her greatest fear at the time: physical exhaustion. The peak of the malice occurred when Camilla bluntly made a sweeping, provocative remark. Looking straight, had invited her to hunt for moments of vulnerability. The lunch began with a barrage of questions from Camilla, disguised under the veneer of concern for the young princess's health. Camilla stating, but well-deserved manner. How will King Charles III face his remaining days of reigning, having just lost the wife at his side, while having to accept the bitter truth that the ultimate power of the family has completely shifted to the hands of the younger generation? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it. Officially been established, from this day forward, no duty would be permitted to trample upon human dignity and the future of the monarchy would be built on truth and honor, never again accepting forced smiles. Evil had lost everything, and justice had been restored in a devil's malicious defiant voice, plotting to demean Kate at Windsor, complete and crystal clear, without a single edit. The ironclad evidence was securely in the hands of the righteous, under the crushing pressure of the Prince of Wales's authority, and a stern warning of on the traitor merely reaching out to take the Pearl Brooch from the operative. The operative quickly pressed the activation button on a specialized extraction device. The original audio file echoed through the empty room. It was Camilla's severe prison sentence for espionage, trespassing, and extortion. The Queen's close aide completely collapsed mentally. Weeping, he fell to his knees at William's feet and confessed to Camilla's entire filthy plot. He admitted that the Queen herself had planned. When the briefcase was inspected on the spot, the bribe ledger, along with a series of cash envelopes that hadn't yet been distributed, were exposed starkly under the lights. The aide trembled violently, his knees buckling to the cold floor, his mouth stammering as he tried to find a hopeless explanation. William stepped closer, his gaze cold and sharp as a dagger. He did not waste a single redundant word. He could not comprehend how her darkest secret had ended up entirely in her opponent's hands. Camilla stammered, attempting to make the excuse that the recording had been fraudulently edited and that she did all of it solely for the stability of the monarchy to secure the family's future. Kate turned off her phone, her gaze toward Camilla. They were cruel mocks about Kate's health assertions that the young princess lacked the capacity to be a future queen, and the plot to distribute bribe money to isolate her. Camilla was stunned, her face shifting from flushed red with rage to stark white with horror. She before all her subordinates. Camilla took a deep breath, trying to stop her body from trembling with rage and humiliation. The instincts of a cunning old fox quickly prompted her to find a way to counterattack. She stepped closer to Kate, Camilla filled with utter contempt. She exposed the brazen excuse with steely words. Do you invoke the monarchy to satisfy your own jealousy and selfish greed? The stability of a dynasty is never built on filthy betrayal and forced smiles. I have submitted in the past for the sake of protocol, but from this moment on, my boundaries are inviolable. You will pay for every malicious word you have spread throughout this palace. Camilla was struck completely mute, her humiliating disgrace etched into every wrinkle as her true face was laid bare. Naked crime had fallen squarely into the Prince of Wales's takedown plan. Late one weekend night, as all of Clarence House plunged into darkness and artificial silence, William's trap officially snapped shut. Camilla's close aide walked hurriedly down, remained completely complacent and smug in his lies. Camilla still believed her plan was flawless, that Kate was breaking down day by day, and that William was completely powerless against the network of aides after night in his secret office. William and the operative meticulously analyzed every movement map of the aide, preparing a perfect trap to snare the traitor. The villain had manipulated with thick envelopes of cash. But she had no idea that every step taken by her close aide, every shady transaction, and even the Pearl Brooch itself, the physical object housing that exterior at public events, and even sharing stages with Camilla, without showing the slightest slip-up. He knew that palace walls had ears, and even a single suspicious glance would put his scheming stepmother on guard. Night after, Kate arrived with traces of paleness still on her face, her body frail after a long battle with a serious illness. Yet she still managed to maintain her inherent elegance. Sitting across from her was Camilla, a woman sitting upright, radiating the cold authority of someone who had just seized their castle. 3 weeks before the scandal at Clarence House erupted, a private lunch invitation was sent to the Princess of Wales from the office of Queen Camilla. The lunch was arranged in an isolated room where the thick ancient walls seemed capable of swallowing any sound. The highest position, The core of the trap lay not in the luxurious dishes on the table, but right on the Queen's chest. Camilla wore a dark velvet gown, highlighted. Will Camilla lose everything and face the harsh punishment of lonely exile after this devastating blow? What dark secret does William's ruthless note to the king contain? And now that Kate's iron boundaries have been established, how will the British monarchy face a new era, one with no room for forced smiles? Every ounce of endurance has its limit, and for Kate Middleton, that boundary was mercilessly trampled upon at Windsor. Decisive handwritten lines of his eldest son burned into his eyes. The ultimate power of this family has shifted. We will never build the future on lies and forced smiles again. There will be a new standard, or there will be nothing at all. He sank into his chair bitterly, realizing that but all of them simultaneously stared at the floor or actively backed away from her, as if avoiding a source of contagion. A ruthless isolation enveloped the Queen right inside her own stronghold. The parents' house. The room once expected to host a show of unity was now left with an eerie silence. On the long oak table, there was not a single soul, only a lone note left behind by Prince William before departing with Kate. The king approached tremblingly and picked up the paper. The major secret meeting about to take place was cancelled immediately, and the invited guests were ordered to leave in astonishment. Camilla understood she had lost every single weapon. Her cowardly wiretapping trap had turned around to finish off its own master, leaving her standing isolated in the middle of the corridor in ultimate disgrace before the entire palace apparatus. A few hours after the shocking confrontation, King Charles III walked into the empty stateroom of to completely shield Kate, forcing Camilla back a step. Simultaneously from the far end of the corridor, two trusted royal guards of King Charles III emerged from the shadows. They were escorting Camilla's close aide, who was now tightly handcuffed, his face completely. Camilla threatened to leak it to prove Kate was unfit to raise the heirs to the throne if she dared to make a scene. Camilla's wicked smile had barely formed before it froze solid. Prince William stepped forward, using his tall staff. He defeated. William didn't even look at his stepmother. He decisively pulled a thick dossier from his coat pocket and slammed it hard onto the corridor's wooden table right in front of Camilla. That dossier was a detailed statement of all of Camilla's personal bank transactions, lowering her voice to a bare whisper, her eyes flashing a wicked, threatening look. Camilla whispered that she still possessed a special medical file compiled by her own trusted doctors during Kate's hospitalization. That file contained fabricated diagnoses of a severe psychiatric disorder afflicting the princess and connections, clearly logging each massive sum she had secretly withdrawn to bribe palace staff into defaming Kate. Camilla looked at the document trembling, but the biggest shock for her lay in William's cold declaration. The Prince of Wales revealed that he had brought all of this evidence. They were stripped of all perks, their names placed on an internal aristocratic blacklist, permanently losing any chance of finding employment with any other prestigious family. A few days after the upheaval, Kate, William, and their children appeared on the balcony without a single family member visiting, becoming a shameful phantom scorned by the public. Camilla's close aide was thrown into a maximum security solitary confinement unit for extortion, internal espionage, and illegal intrusion into the security system, receiving his rightful punishment under the law without any assistance from his fallen former master. All palace staff across the departments who had accepted Camilla's bribe money to spread the distorted audio file to defame Kate were fired immediately that day. London and exiled to a remote, perennially cold estate in Scotland. She had to live out her remaining days in absolute isolation, cut off from all contact with the outside world. Of Buckingham Palace, to the cheers and applause of millions of citizens gathered below. Kate stood there, her face radiant, bearing the majestic aura of a true future queen, who had triumphed spectacularly through her own wits and self-esteem. A new royal standard had all public appearance rights, her name erased from all major events and family duties. That very night, under the escort of a security team, appointed by William Camilla, was quietly expelled from London. The next chapter of the monarchy had been decided by the resilience of the future generation. The following morning, a true media hurricane swept across Britain and expanded globe enter the meeting room, directly confronting and shutting down the Queen's defamation plot, ignited public opinion. The global public, particularly readers in the United States, stood united behind Kate. They were outraged by Camilla's malice and praised Kate's action to defend her dignity and self-esteem as a symbol of courage, refusing to blindly submit to fake protocols. Queen Camilla faced the most devastating mental punishment. She was completely stripped of all at breakneck speed. The front pages of the largest newspapers simultaneously displayed the shocking headline, "Kate's Boundary." The exclusive story of the Princess of Wales resolutely refusing to use this money to bribe and pay off staff across various palace departments, from close ladies-in-waiting to those managing schedules. Within just 2 short weeks, Camilla's distorted recording and malicious rumors spread to every corner of the royal to gossip intensely that Kate Middleton was no longer lucid after her surgery, that she was undergoing psychiatric treatment, and that Prince William was burdened with a completely incapacitated wife. Kate's honor was brutally trampled by the web of lies Camilla had painstakingly woven. The cruelty of this blow lay in the fact that it created a of Queen. She did not use physical force, but used orchestrated rumors as a poison to assassinate Kate's reputation. To ensure this poison spread effectively, Camilla withdrew a massive sum of cash from her private funds and handed it to her aide. His mission apparatus. Vicious whispers echoed in dark corridors. Servants cast pitying glances as Kate walked by, and deliberate leaks were fed to tabloid journalists close to Camilla. People began Cold War, isolating Kate entirely within her own residence. Whenever the Princess of Wales appeared at small internal events, she had to face scrutinizing gazes and whispers that abruptly fell silent as she approached. Silent isolation choked Kate day by day with immense gratification. Faced with the relentless wave of defamation, Kate chose a long-suffering silence, but it was not submission. It was the accumulation of a terrifying rage. She saw clearly the truth. Her name began to be crossed off guest reception lists, and her activities were unofficially suspended under the pretext of protecting the princess's health. Standing from afar, Camilla watched the true face of the network of aides manipulated by Camilla's money. They were turning her into a mad woman in the eyes of all palace staff, destroying bit by bit the self-esteem